Krishna, let me just, so I know, it's been a lot of information trying to be put together. So usually let me just start my presentation and then, start talking. Usually the question that I usually take, I get is, as an entrepreneur, where do I focus? So once so for me, my journey has been about building websites to do multi-million dollar, orders. And whenever I went through this journey, few things, I literally had to make certain choices. So my presentation is more about those choices and how, I would also call them the entrepreneurial dilemma and or the management dilemma, whichever you're part of. So for me, so what I'm trying to cover here is those questions and where should the focus be? Once, let's say you have had your first 100 orders or, you've got the first 20 orders regularly per day. The question is, how do I scale this up to, let's say, 1,000 orders per day? So this journey for me definitely involves performance marketing, which is what Krishna has been talking about. So investing in multi-channel is definitely one of the, it's up there in terms of priorities. Investing in brand is up there in terms of priority. But, once you start getting the traffic, what do you do? Okay, so let me just answer that question, but, just a brief about us. So with almost 18 years of experience, I started this consulting firm just to make sure that, we work with digitally, we work with interesting startups and small and medium businesses to help them achieve their goals on the digital side. So different startups, different goals. We've actually over the last 2 years have done a lot of good things. And this is something that, overall cumulatively we have an experience of. And then, different companies that we work with, clientele. And you could see here our team, me and others. So these are a few things, the outcomes will come there. This is just to advertise ourselves. But coming here, so conversion rate optimization. So for me, it's very important as a person who's getting these 10 orders, 20 orders. I know that the engine is ready. So the engine is ready, there's traffic coming in, we are getting decent number of orders. So what the focus, either you've gotten the fund or you've not got the fund is the cost of acquisition of the customer. So targeting that as an entrepreneur becomes very important. So there are different things that you can attack. One, obviously, you don't have to spend the budget on the marketing, and therefore, it's cheaper, but that doesn't work that way. So as an entrepreneur, you are actually making sure you are investing on marketing, therefore focus on the conversion rate optimization so that the overall cost of acquisition goes down. Different things that I have focused on over the years. One is obviously to increase the conversion rate. We have looked at how do we build a brand, how do we ensure that the customer experience improves and reduce the cart abandonment. Therefore, the signups. When I say, it need not necessarily be e-commerce, it's any digitally, if you're trying to fill a form, also, it's very important that we look at certain aspects. That's what I've tried to cover here and look at as to what has experience taught me and therefore share it with you. So if you see here, the most important thing is, of course, building the brand. Like Krishna said, investing in it, and I've heard this statement multiple times with other consultants and also certain companies that, you build a product worth one, which is you have invested almost 1 crore to build a product, but you don't even invest 1 lakh to market it. And that's the status that we see, a situation we see out there. I think that mindset is not going to help because I'm not saying invest 1 crore in marketing. All I'm saying is there has to be a decent budget. There has to be a focus on building the brand, and it is not really rocket science. It's simply, understanding what your product solves for the customer. How are they doing it right now? And how do you plan to replace? Either is it competition that you're trying to replace, or is it a new habit that you're trying to bring in? Focus on that. Clearly write that down. also, getting to know literally the buyer persona is very important. I don't see this kind of a practice happening across board. And I think that's one of the most important things to happen, because I really would even say, why don't you do a cutout of a customer and write whatever you want to write and then literally put it in the office, just so that people realize that there is a human being and that you're actually interacting with a human being. So that actually brings out a lot more ideas to help conversion rate happen. This is something that I've personally done. So I really have seen the results. So something like, this is a product SaaS company. And so we literally wrote down their customer target group, and then we actually have described the CTG and the value propositions. And we actually extended this again into buyer persona, literally giving an image to that person, giving a name to that person. This is a practice that really helps for you to move from 10, because what's happening, when you get these 10, 20 is you are very clear as a manager, as top management or as an entrepreneur, but it's the team that actually delivers a lot more things. So for the team to appreciate it, this crystallization really helps. So this is one of the most important things that you have to do to improve your conversion rate. You would see that automatically the kind of suggestions that come, the kind of ideas that start coming from the team for yourself would change. So it's very important that this one thing is done. Then the second thing is realizing that mobile is most probably the place where your customers are experiencing your website. So most of the times we are in a hurry. Obviously, I see that there's a lot of companies that are coming out today. They're saying we are only mobile only company, which is interesting. But what I've not seen is when they say they are mobile only company, putting the analytics into it is very important. Putting those hooks using something like the Fireside analytics is very important, just so that we actually are able to measure. But if you're a website or if you're a desktop focused company, move away from it, make mobile the first. You would immediately see conversion rate jump up. The almost the abandonment rates are around 70% for a desktop. It's almost at 85% plus for mobile. So you could see that just because you've optimized a small thing, you actually are getting better results. So you're not really changing the product, you're just changing the screen and saying few things that need to be changed. So this is the low hanging fruit for me that you can actually immediately adopt to improve the conversion rate. And then then the third point that I've seen is on the website, how is the customer journey and what are the different things that you can do. And this is the new economy that's really developing. It's called the nudge economy. And these are all the nudges that are possible. You could actually do the research on nudges, how it used to be implemented. There's a lot of knowledge out there that helps you put these into the customer flow, the customer journey, and therefore you're able to make those small conversions happen. Even if it is a small form to be filled to a big product to be bought, ₹5 product to ₹1,000 product, something like social proof is very important. Something like order soon kind of a nudge is very important. Making the entire thing frictionless is very important. I'll just talk more about that frictionless thing. But making sure that this entire understanding that you need to nudge. It's more like I'm sure you would have seen in so many queues there. When people form queues, there is actually people placed in different things so that the queue moves. Same thing, when a person has put it into the cart, you actually are helping them without human intervention to make them take the right decisions or to make them understand the right things. This is one thing, you could actually go through every page, every section of your website, and then just that little bit improvement improves your orders, that it just starts flowing. So this is the third thing that I would say we should be working on. And then for me, the customer journey is literally about, for me, ideally it has to be 3 pages. You land, you choose what you want to choose, and then buy it, get out. Okay. So these are the 3 steps that you really want the customer taking. You don't want them to move away from that funnel at any point of time. So all these nudges help you put them back into the mainstream. So, or if they're stuck, you just are pushing them to the next step so that they don't exist from the website. So thinking about this seriously is very important. For me, references could help. I know a lot of times I've seen clients imitating what Amazon does, imitating what the bigger companies do, and I'm really okay with it. But understanding the psychology behind it and understanding the relevancy for you as your whether it's the product sign up form, demo sign up, registration sign up, it's very important that you actually get and do that. So this is one. Then the next thing is, why are they abandoning? You could see here, these are very few. Again, I would actually point out only 2 or 3 things out of this. As a top management person, I've always focused on hidden charges, because most of the times, 2 things that happen if you're an ITS company, you're trying to make the companies, the customers sign up for or sign up for something. Customer is willing to spend more time when they know what it costs. So even if it is a normal product, like the FMCG product, or a small product, people don't want hidden cost to be there. So they don't want to move to the next step and realize that there is something more to it. So this is something that's very important. So as an entrepreneur, I've always focused on that one aspect. And then the next one that I really focus on is the checkout process to be very less complicated. So you could see here, this is something done by the Baymard Institute, which actually does a lot of research. Baymard.com has a lot of resources. Please do go through it. You could see here directly the relationship between form fields and the user experience performance. So what happens is, you could see, 10 to 15 is the right number where the experience is really good. The minute it moves over 15, you're really not doing the job. So reducing the amount of information that you're collecting as a entrepreneur, the way to know the consumer behavior is not really capturing that in a form, but more through other ways to learn about the consumer. There are maybe user surveys you could do. You could directly talk to the customer, but using a form to collect that information is definitely not the right way. So that's the second thing for me, that the shopping cart or the sign up form or the registration form has too many things that they're asking. So reducing that actually increases the conversion rate. Therefore, you get the higher bang for the buck. Then the one more thing on the abandonment rate is the online reviews. Definitely, so what I continue to hear, which I was not hearing earlier, was people don't want to get into live chat. Earlier, they were actually having live chat was a very good feature. Talking, putting your WhatsApp number out there was very good. Today, they just don't want it. What they want, what the customer wants, what the visitors want is to realize, that you are a good company or a good product through others, somebody who is similar to them. So managing this, I know a lot of people work on the online reviews, but it's about closing the loop and increasing the numbers that go through that loop. If you're already getting 20, 30 orders a day, it's very important that you go back and or signups or demos that are getting happening, taking that review, making sure that review becomes visible to the public is very important. And there's a lot of tools out there to bring this reputation management into place. So these are some of them which I think are interesting to spend, and they have different ways, including white label to API, which doesn't necessarily mean you're actually going out and making the customer go to some other website. So, but still, using that really helps get your reputation in place. So broadly, this has been the what I would call it on the website changes that I see we should do so that the numbers go up, the cost of customer acquisition goes down significantly. Just, I've seen conversion rates go up, double up, just because, we've done these small steps. So it's very important that what I would say is conversion rate office is created inside your company. So for me, one of the struggles has been, should we make the conversion rate the responsibility of the people generating the traffic, or the visitors, or should it be the responsibility of a merchandising team or a product team? So for me, and each one gives the reason as the other, for non-conversion. Instead, have an independent conversion rate office, even an individual person. It could be an intern, it could be a business analyst, but making that person report all the numbers directly to the top management always helps. So that's one big recommendation that I would give, so that all the money that is getting spent and growth actually becomes sustainable. I've actually built companies which are sustainable and profitable and are not really what I would say, we've not gone for investment, because I think if you're getting this kind of customer orders, I think the turning point is just around the corner. We just need diligence. We need to keep our head and then do these small things, and then boom, you would see that you've actually become sustainable and profitable and you're growing. So really, this is something that I've learned over the period. A few things to just bring it back to what Krishna was saying. One is definitely go global. So go local. Don't think global. Don't think states. Don't think country. One of the things that I actually suggest as performance marketing person is go local, go hyper local if possible, to the mandal level if you're really looking at mandals, or within few kilometers of the target, instead of trying to just be putting the money at all around. So that's one thing, including that helps you in even in social media channels performing better, just because you are actually trying to target very specific geography. So geography is one thing. It's better, it's easier to develop smaller markets and become better at them. So you could see any e-commerce / digital company out there has actually specialized in certain specific markets, and then they have expanded. So this is very important for your spend. And then one final thing, I'll just close it, is retarget. Put your money. I think for me, if you can put 30%, 50% of your money into this, it would really help. Retargeting has become a lot more possible today, especially with so many ad platforms coming in. So please spend your money there. Okay, so that's about what I think conversion rate optimization focus should be. Vaishali, Shweta, please take over.
Yes, sir. So thank you, Rishi. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable inputs.